Well, the stuff from the Reserve Bank Governor Glenn Stevens about the Sydney housing market being crazy and that he's acutely concerned about it was very unusual language from a central banker. Amazing even. And financial markets were duly amazed. When the prepared speech was released at 12:30, the cry on foreign exchange desks went out that the easing bias had been reinstated. That was where he said, "We remain open to the possibility of further policy easing," by which he means more rate cuts. Dollar fell. And then at 2:15, he answered a question about house prices and used the C-bomb. Crazy, that is. All hell broke loose and the dollar took off. Actually, confusion broke loose, really. Is it an easing bias because the economy is weak, or is it a tightening bias because the governor's acutely concerned about Sydney house prices? No one knows now, but tonight they're going with crazy. The reason he was talking about more rate cuts in the prepared speech was that even though last week's national accounts showed reasonable growth, overall the economy is quite a bit weaker than the RBA had predicted. In fact, Glenn Stevens said it was by far the biggest forecasting error he'd seen over his 3 decades in this game, as he put it. And that was another big, unusual statement from a central banker. Now, the graph shows 3 decades of GDP growth, and the trend is pretty clear. The RBA thought it would have started going up by now, but it was wrong. Glenn Stevens also said in his speech that monetary policy is no longer working very well, and right on cue, consumer sentiment data came out today, down 9.6% from optimistic to pessimistic, despite last month's rate cut. The dollar finished at 77.3 US cents, up a full cent on today's low and half a cent up from last night. And the local share market was basically flat today. Woodside shares went up because the oil price jumped overnight, and some of the other big moves included Woolworths, JB Hi-Fi, Telstra and CSL. And that's finance.